Okay, and we should be live. Thank you for watching this stream and thank you for joining me. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure.
Oh,
Am I still on? Yeah.
yeah, we
I think the
started with a
network.
glitch. Perfect, perfect. We're
Yeah,
starting with a
there
glitch.
was. I think your video is broken at the moment.
Seems okay on my side.
Okay. If yeah, it might be just on my computer, but if it works, then it works. Yeah. So my name is Matti Tahvonen. I work at Vaadin with Java. We make, of course, the Java UI library for web, and I work as a developer advocate and sometimes touching some pieces of the actual frameworks and components as well. And yeah, I've been doing Java for about 20 years now, roughly the same time that I have joined Vaadin as well. Before that, I was basically a JavaScript developer, but these days I really like to do everything in Java, everything I can in Java.
I know the feeling because it's the language that allows you to build everything. Thank you for joining.
Exactly.
So the idea of today is, so I have this demo, I have this CrowPy here next to me that I will use at Devox and JFall next month to demonstrate what we are doing with Pi4J, so to bring Java to the Raspberry Pi. I already used this demo a few years ago at these conferences, so I'm going to show what's new, but I also wanted to update this presentation and this application. It's a Vaadin application I created at that time, and I'm very happy. Oops, I'm very happy that you joined. It seems the internet is not so stable, but we'll see what happens. I have the application here. We are together in code with me in this IntelliJ. And I have to be honest, I didn't dare to start from scratch and updating a 2-year-old application in a live stream. So there were already some steps taken. The main thing is that the Java version was already bumped. And also the Pi4J version was bumped. Actually, it's a newer one already. And we have a newer Vaadin.
Actually, there would be one. It would be 24.9.0
And indeed,
at the moment,
I
but there is
see.
actually not too much in it.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
There are a couple of tiny enhancements, but our Vaadin 24.9 is mostly kind of a preparation for the next minor. So most of that we did in this minor release was very important things. We deprecated things so then we can clean up and get rid of things.
And cleaning up is always important. So let's see.
It is.
So
It
is
is.
it 24.9, you know,
Dot O.
the minor digits?
Yeah.
We'll need to check. Um,
Dot
and I,
O.
dot O,
You're missing the,
yes.
yeah.
And I think there's also a new Spring. Voila.
Yeah.
Okay. So
5.5.
this is based on Spring Boot. So we have
Yep.
everything ready to run it as a web application, and then Vaadin adds the UI stuff and as dependencies. So we have the Vaadin dependencies here. We have Spring Boot, and then we have Pi4J with some different plugins. I'm not going to go into details, but the plugins actually are how the Java library interacts with these GPIO pins where you connect electronic components, and depending on which component you could need different plugins. So that's handled here. So let's see if we can update this project and see if everything still builds, which would be nice for a demo, of course. So that's one of the things. And then, yeah, I already was in contact with one of your colleagues, Matti, because I had this a few times already. Updating Vaadin is not always so straightforward. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. This is quite something that I see quite often actually with our community members. And this is basically related to the fact that basically what we do at Vaadin, we take care of the front end stuff. And during the builds, there might be some like front end customizations that you have done, and we don't always get rid of all these front end kind of cache files or configuration files. But for your kind of people and my kind of people who likes to do like most in Java, you can actually typically fix these front-end conflicts with a command called Maven Vaadin dance or the official goal is the Vaadin clean, but that's basically doing exactly the same thing there. So but that effectively that removes all these case files. It gets rid of the pre-built front-end bundles if that has been cached as well, and then when you make Maven package, then pretty much everything, most of it works. So that's something that basically every Vaadin developer should learn, that when, especially when you upgrade to like a bigger minor version, then you might need to do that, or if you have been using some custom add-ons or build some own front-end customizations to your own project. But yeah.
It was mainly the generated code and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was also actually, it might have been related also something that we did in the Vaadin 24 point something. I have already lost the track of these minor versions, but there was actually, you can see there that the front-end directory that was at the root of the project, and that is now moved so that if you need this in the future, the tooling actually generates this into source main frontend. So it might have been related to that as well.
Yeah, I think it was mainly this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a quick look at the application. So I have it running. So here next to me on this CrowPi. So this is a CrowPi 2. There's a Raspberry Pi 5 inside. It has a lot of components. And for instance, if we have this LCD display, I don't know if you can see this very well. So it has some text. I can clean it and I can put something new on there. So this kind of stuff. There is a LED here that I can turn on and off. Very basic. The idea bit of this application is to show that as a Java developer, you can easily run or use your existing knowledge as a Java developer to build something which runs on a Raspberry Pi and interacts with these GPIOs. There are some others, like you can change numbers on this display. I think I have to bring it a bit closer again to see it. So you see, and it has some push system that I'm using, a broadcasting system it's called, to push data back to the UI. So if someone else would change this display, it would also appear in this data grid. And the same push system is also used here. I have the impression that it not always starts. I have no idea why. Let us refresh. Okay. And now my grid is gone. I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong, but it's actually reading the humidity and the temperature. And this comes from this little blue box here. I don't have a hairdryer or so to test the temperature change, but I found out if I put my finger on it, then these values start to change after some time. So this is a bit what exists. And I know, Matti, you checked the code and you already had some ideas of what we can improve. So let me go here to the code.
And because I wanted to prepare, I also bought this kind of a device. Yeah, so I wanted to replicate a bit of the same thing that you have there, but I was not able to get my hand on that same CrowPi device, but I got this, I think this is called WaveShare Pioneer 600 or something. And by my own developer hand, I actually welded it on this Raspberry Pi Zero. So this is the very low power computer. So it's still a computer. It has the same Raspbian operating system as yours, and it only has 500 megabytes on it, but it was happily executing the same application. But I needed to do quite a bit of modifications to the system actually, because it has different devices, but it has pretty similar in a way. It has a barometer and a temperature sensor and also an OLED display, but let's see, maybe next weekend I have some time to push out the code for this version, and then maybe we can actually contribute to this one project that you mentioned earlier, where we could maybe start to collect some kind of a Java drivers.
Yeah, indeed. So what you can see in the code here is that, for instance, for this 7-segment display, where you put the numbers like in your alarm clock, this actually has quite some code in the Vaadin project, which is again a copy of another project by students done in the Pi4J project. And for people who are interested, so there is ongoing work, let me check, in this repository. So it's within the Pi4J GitHub repository, there is Pi4J drivers. And the idea here is to move some of this reused code to control specific devices like displays or segment displays or RGB matrices, stuff like that. I don't know what they already have implemented, but this is a very new project. It's not yet on Maven. We plan to do that later by the end of September, maybe start of October. Would be nice again to announce this at Devox. So you see for specific chips, there are already drivers added here. And yeah, maybe you can contribute yours, Matti, or have a mix.
I'll try to do this as well.
Yeah. And by the way, the Vaadin project that we are working on is on my personal repository, fdelporte./Vaadin examples. So if you want to check the sources, you can do that. You can find it on this address. And
yeah, but don't clone it yet, because we will be making some changes there.
We will make changes now, and maybe people will make changes and contribute. We'll see what happens. That's the magic of open source and public repositories.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I skimmed quickly through the code base, and I could definitely see that the Java developer has been working on that, but I was not completely happy with everything there. I saw at least actually one bug, or it's kind of it might cause some synchronization issues at some point when it relates to the push. So, but essentially when you're reading all the data. So let's fix that, and then make some like regular cleanup for the code, and how I would change the code structure as a Java developer, or more specifically Vaadin developers. Excellent.
So you can
now we will.
Maybe I can show this first. Is if people are interested. So if they go to Pi4J service, so this is a Spring approach with services. We have a Pi4J service which handles all the logic between the UI and the components. This may look a bit as overkill, but I did this initially as this is a demo. You can so find how is a LED initialized, how is the touch, which is actually an input initialized. So all these are separate methods here within the service. Of course, you could do that all in the constructor, but I wanted to separate those to make it clear for people who want to use this. Like for instance, for the LED config. So the LED is an output, a digital output. You give it a name, you give it an ID, where the on which pin it is connected of the Raspberry Pi, and then some initial states. By the way, this setup config is here. So I used this before with the CrowPi 1, which looks the same but has a smaller screen. I'm now using a CrowPi 2 combined with a Raspberry Pi 5, and I hope to have a CrowPi 3 in a short time to do that. And some of these, like for instance, the LED pin is on another connection, the PWM buzzer is on another address. So some of these things can be defined. So if you add yours...
And same with this. I needed to change that configuration exactly. So I created my own version for the Pioneer 600, and then I needed to change the LED. And initially I disabled many of the other features because they are not exactly the same on this device.
The same thing, I actually removed one of the items. I cannot remember how I did this, but one of the menu items is also not shown depending on which device you're using. That was the main layout that is populating the menu, and I think I saw that you had actually made some changes to that already. So I think in the previous version you actually hard coded the menu items in this layout class. I didn't do this. I found this as an example on your website, and I
Yeah,
have to.
this is
Can
this
I
is much better
please?
now.
Can I please have a round of applause for this uh, docs? What is it? UI components. See all components. This page. This page. It's magic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
um,
yeah.
it,
That's really what we have actually worked on. So that we have like copy pastable
yeah.
snippets of all those UI components, and you can find examples. And of course, you should always take these as with a bit of a grain of salt. They just showcase you how the API can be used. So not always I think it's the best practice that we show here, but it's written in a way that it tries to showcase the API in as simple manner as
Yeah.
possible. But actually I because of my work I see quite a lot of Vaadin code, and sometimes I hate the way how we write this code because usually this code is so-called that set this. So it's procedural code, and then your Java code starts to look exactly like, for example, on this screen. So everything is on the same line. There is
Yeah.
absolutely no structure at all. You don't have names for your own things. Maybe you have here, for example, you have icon card. Well, probably it could be just a photo as well.
Yeah.
It would be already like a better name for it, but even better, you could actually create a new class for that called photo, and then you would instantiate new card with a different constructor, and yeah, maybe we can actually try to do similar changes in your code as well.
Mhm. By the way, I like the cards. I use it.
Oh, yeah, a
This is
different,
made with the cards in Vaadin. So
yeah, yeah.
I
That
had
was
a
a
custom component. It was not so nice, and then you came up with the cards. I was really waiting
yeah,
for that release because you announced it already a few versions ago. I was really waiting for it, and it's
yeah,
so easy to
yeah.
build
That's
some nice elements. So yeah,
one of my favorite components as well
yeah,
in the
yeah,
recent Vaadin releases, and that's exactly what kind of enhancements I hope from us in the future as well. So it may sound quite trivial component that yes, if you know CSS and you know a bit of DOM, you can easily replicate and just use the lower level Vaadin API to create those. But we as Java developers, we are very lazy developers, and especially on that front,
we
it
copy too
it
much.
take it takes way too much time to kind of make all these big pixel perfect announcements. It's way easier if we have this kind of components like this card now that makes it look good out of the box. And
Yeah,
there's a ton of these variations how you can customize it. And well, yeah, the theme is designed by very talented people in
mm,
Vaadin. So most often you don't want to change the theming at all. You just want to take what Vaadin gives you there and go with these defaults.
yeah.
And yeah,
Fully agree. I didn't do any styling. You probably
yeah,
also see it, but
yeah,
I didn't do
yeah.
any
This is
styling.
very plain. This is very
Yeah,
plain. But
this is very
yeah,
plain.
quite often my applications that I do for myself or related to my hobbies, where I'm using our company's product, they look like this. It
Yeah.
usually doesn't matter. The functionally is the king anyways. So you want to get like a it's nice that it looks decent, but
Hmm.
that's the minimum. Like usually you want
Yeah.
to first get the functionality right, and
Hmm.
then if you want to make something public, then you want to do some fine tunings like you have done here, for example.
And by the way, because and I see the same with Java Vix and Java and Vaadin, they are pretty stable since a long time. So these models, these chat models, are really trained on documentation which is still valid, which is not the case in all programming languages. So if you ask for ChatGPT, help me to improve my layout, it can help you. So
Yeah,
this page was mainly ChatGPT generated to
yeah,
make it nicer,
yeah,
and with Vaadin components. So not no custom things are done here. So
yeah,
yeah, okay, agree on the styling thing. Okay, maybe back to the code.
yeah. Shoot, what should we start with? Shall we look first to the builds?
Um, yes.
Because
So
because because because
there
the
were
build script.
some, yeah, there were some generic changes that you could improve here.
Yeah, Yeah, this is now kind of special. Can you see my screw?
Yeah, we're following you.
Cursor in the POM XML. Yeah. Okay. So this is now like mostly related to the fact that we are now working with these very lightweight devices. So it's Raspberry Pi and very, very low powered computers. So I usually hate when people do optimizations, but I would like to maybe do that this time. Here we actually have basically 2 times the same thing. So because the Vaadin Spring Boot Starter, that actually prints in the Vaadin core as well. So we could just as well get rid of that. And the thing that is in the latest Vaadin release is that we actually have 2 frameworks. We have one that is targeted for React developers as well, and it's also built into this. And it grows quite considerably the jar file, the artifact size when you have that. But you don't actually need it because you are a Java developer. And if we get rid of it, it will actually make it way lighter. So this will make your deployments to the Raspberry Pi much faster. So let's put Hilla here. So this is very handy framework if you are creating something like on the client side. Then it helps you a lot, but that's a totally different beast. So in this example, because this is using the Vaadin flow, the Java magic, this is the thing that you want to use. So now we have way lighter. So now if we make clean install, it will be faster to do the build, and it will also be faster to deploy it, but nothing else changes.
I can check. So the current one is this. This is the jar that is now running on the Raspberry Pi. So we'll see if we build a new one, how much smaller it is. Yeah.
It should be several megabytes smaller. Yeah.
I cannot remember why I added the line außen.
I think this is used for some icons. So with Vaadin, you have one icon library built in. It's called Vaadin icons. But yeah, style moves on, and somebody thought that line awesome is more awesome. And I saw that you are actually using those here, for example, in the views. Then where you're defining how they are displayed in the menu. So you are using that there. So we can leave it there. It's not too light, heavyweight. I will add my favorite add-on as well, because let's add in.virit.viritin and version. Let's see how the auto completion works here. No,
not
19.2. If I remember correctly, let's try that. Can you reload the POM to see if it works?
See what happens.
Because I'm only allowed to make the code changes, but not to reload it. We got it resolved.
Yes, it's there.
Yeah, because I'm gonna kind of radically modify this main layout now.
I love it.
So
if you simplify it, it's okay.
You simplified it quite a lot earlier already. So previously you had like hard-coded entries here for each and every view, but now you are using this newer version here. But this is pretty much what I write to almost my applications. And you have also creating footer and after navigation, updating something. And all of this is pretty much in every Vaadin application that I write. So that's why I have a custom main layout in that Viritin application. So let's use that as a super class and then get rid of pretty much everything.
Oh.
And okay, let's not make it, but we need to implement. Okay, now you might actually want to help me here to implement the method that is there is one.
And one is this one.
Get title something. Yes. So here we can now, like, for example, add I don't remember what we had there in the title, but let's make it something. And now can you try to restart the application? Let's see what happened. Hopefully there is no changes at all in the UI except maybe the drawer header. but we got rid of a lot of code.
Let me add it here so you see it. Okay.
Is this now running on the local host? Yeah.
It's on local hosts, so it's not the version on the Pi yet, but we have no menu options.
Yeah, actually, this is what happened to me when I tried it. So there was a tiny change. So I think we need to still update the POM XML to .3. let's try that version, and now reload the POM.
So this one, yeah.
Yeah, let's restart now. Yeah, there was a newer release. So in earlier versions when Vaadin didn't ship with this menu annotation, I had my custom. I think it was menu item. Okay, let me check the latest version from the vaadin.com/directory. Let me get you the exact, or you can try to autocomplete if it shows you the list of.
Try.
Yeah, okay. It's 2.19.4. That's the version that we should be using.
Okay, let's see if you find it.
Yeah.
Yep. The love of dependencies, knowing which version to use.
Yeah. Usually IntelliJ is these days quite good at auto-completing the ones, but apparently this code with me feature doesn't work for that well.
Okay, so we have it. So let me try something else. So if I go to my terminal and I run my latest script again.
Yeah, so now we're doing the production build.
This builds it, and that wants to upload it to my Raspberry Pi.
You can probably check the size of the jar file as well.
Yeah. It takes a bit longer. That's probably because we did some cleanup.
Yeah, we upgraded the Vaadin version and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the Vaadin frontend build actually caches the kind of the all the node stuff into the project directory. So like a subsequent build will be way faster than that.
Someone is asking what the special characters are that you use in the title of the application, but actually that's a part of the logo of Vaadin.
Yeah, that's kind of the text version of our logo. Okay, I don't have that kind of shirt.
Okay.
All right, it's now built.
So it's 45 megabytes. It says so. Let's go
I think it was closer to 60. So now it's Spring Boot and.
So you see, this was the version we had before, and this is the version we uploaded now. So we go from 58 to 47. Million bits.
And especially if you have these Raspberry Pi Zeros, then you can also see it in the startup time when you publish it there. So Spring Boot is rather heavy, and Vaadin is rather heavy if you build everything for these kind of devices. It doesn't really matter in like a regular normal servers.
Can you show it closely? So it's not the big thing that you're holding; it's the small thing. That's the Raspberry Pi Zero, and I find it amazing that this costs 35 euros, something like that, and it's a quad-core Linux machine. So everything is on there.
500 megabytes memory.
That's the only limitation. It only has 500 megabytes of memory, but it has an HDMI out. It has Wi-Fi. It has this only one USB, one
and one USB port. Yeah.
But it has a full 40-pin header, so you can connect whatever you want to it.
Yeah, but this one didn't ship with this. What do we call it in English?
Yeah, the header.
Yeah. So I didn't need to actually solder it, but I heard that you can actually order ones with this one as well. But this was the only thing that was available in the local electronics store. Yeah.
Okay. So first thing you did is remove half of my code. Perfect.
No, it was only the irrelevant part of the code.
The irrelevant part, I love it.
And in this case, it was exactly the same name in the actual library, and in this example, maybe it's a bit bad naming by my part. It probably should have been abstract name layout, but basically this is what you do with with Vaadin development, and just like with Swing developers as well, development as well in the past, and JavaFX, that you create custom components, you create reusable pieces, and not only for reuse, but the main thing I want to create classes in my applications is that it gives you the structure that it makes your code way more readable, and when you actually start to modify it later on, when you come back to this project 1 year later, then you can still work on it right away. Yeah. Because if everything is just in one big line, then you could just as well write in JavaScript or Python or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just you need to use the language skills, and this is exactly what I mean. So you have this log grid.
I have only one component created. It is a log grid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is this one, so this one here. So if I put something on a row, this grid, because I used it a few times. So, and that's indeed the idea. If you can make something a component and reuse it, you should.
Absolutely.
Again,
we could maybe take one example with the IDE in the about system view. That's not too much related to the actual Raspberry Pi, but just to basically show the about system view here. This is what I was not too happy about. So so basically we have this test latency button here, and even if it's only used in this one single view, I think this is definitely like a worth of component here. So instead of just like using this button and modifying it here, we should actually give it a structure. So we could create an inline class here, private static class, let's say latency button. Button extends button. So now we have a class. Yes, let's make we don't need the constructor now because we know exactly what's gonna be always the title in that button.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use that as the text, and then we are doing a bit of hacking here to kind of test the client server latency that is used. So this is
again, I didn't invent this code. I think I copied it even from a blog from the Vaadin website.
it might even be my code, actually.
Probably. Because I found it a very interesting example. If I use this CrowPy on a conference and I have a few hundred people in the room trying the same application, then it's a really nice test to see, this thing can actually handle a lot of traffic. And within this one single Java application, handle the UI and control the GPIOs and still be very responsive and have a very quick return on events.
Yeah. So now we can add like regular click listener in the constructor and in this click listener. So now when people actually click this button, it first executes JavaScript and then it goes to the server side and executes this click listener. And then we can again go to the element API. So this is the lower level API in Vaadin that you use to integrate with custom components. And now we can execute this same JavaScript here. That we could actually simplify this quite a bit because we don't have that ID anymore. But we can just it's this. This refers to the current element in this context. So that should work it. And now maybe we could actually get rid of this calculation here altogether. Maybe we could actually let's do it this way. Get element, execute JavaScript, and no. That was a wrong auto-completion by AI. Return this start. So we have the start there now, and now we have it on the server side, and we have it as integer or long, double. Ooh. I think it's double because JavaScript only has a double, but from double start, we can make it into long value. Now we can write this logic that we wrote here. We have long timestamp start. So now we can move this logic also to the Java code. And now local instant. Let's use the instant. Now, and is it epoch second? Yeah. What happened?
No.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna do it old school. System get current millis. This one. No! I have totally different keyboard shortcuts in my own ID.
Is it the shortcuts that cause problems?
Yeah. So now we can. Well, now we have basically the difference that is between the current minus the start var latency.
And I think a line got removed where you set this start value.
No, it's here. Yeah, but now we should do something with this actual value. I'm gonna make a bit lazy thing here. So I'm gonna replace now this with this latency button. We can get rid of the parameter here. And let's actually make it, I don't want to make it an actual listener. We should probably make an actual listener for it if you want to make it really, really good. But now we are basically in the context of this, so we can just add new paragraph. That should probably do it.
Okay, so we can actually even...
You can try it.
Simplify. Okay, let's run it. Let's see what it gives locally. By the way, a remark by A.R. I'm not sure I like passing JavaScript code as a string and let it getting evaluated somewhere. Agree, but you can add the JavaScript function to your HTML file.
Yeah.
And call it that way. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, that's usually what you should do when you have any like a larger integration, that you have a separate JavaScript line. Okay, so the same functionality here, but now we are doing more stuff in Java.
Yeah.
And when we come back to this code later on, it will be way easier for us to maintain it here.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this magic of executing JavaScripts, I can remember a Vaadin project I did several years ago, that it was quite hard to find documentation about this. I don't know if that has changed, if you have a link to something on the Vaadin website where this is clearly explained, because I think a lot of people who are experienced with JavaScript want to do certain things in JavaScript on their page, or maybe create some custom components.
And this is actually how you should do it. So you create new components and hide all that JavaScript execution in these components. So don't do it in your typically if in this kind of like basic UI flow that you write here, if you have these execute JavaScript things, then it basically means that you have broken the abstraction layer.
Yeah.
So in our documentation, you can find it on the section that discusses about creating custom components. That's usually what you are doing. Or if you are customizing some existing component, then you might need to also do execute JavaScript calls. But otherwise, in regular, like good quality Vaadin code, you never see these. So these are typically always hidden on a different abstraction level called components.
Okay, so we can use it here for demo purposes, but it's bad practice. On the other side, you had an idea to improve this page. By the way, I added something. Let me check where I did that. I think in the server component, service component. So I have this polar. Yeah, so if we are not running on a Raspberry Pi, then I just create random measurements.
Yeah, that was very helpful when I was playing with the project.
Yeah, so the temperature does not go up in my office from 31 to 16 degrees and back. This is all random data, but for testing, this is indeed a lot easier. By the way, this is something which was also recently added to the Pi4J library. So when you initialize the Pi4J context, so all the plugins, it immediately checks which board it's running on, and it will find it for all the Raspberry Pis. And if it doesn't detect it, we have some people using this on Orange Pi, although we don't support it yet officially. But you can make it generic, and then you have the same functionality, for instance, on an Orange Banana Pi, Orange Pi, what all these other flavors. But here I see, my PC, an Apple or Windows are not recognized as an embedded device, so it's unknown. And otherwise, it actually does read it from the components. So this is if you run it on the Raspberry Pi. So that's why these values keep bumping around the whole time. But you had an idea, so let me close everything.
Yeah. This was kind of originally also the inspiration for the session altogether, that we need to get something more visual, because Vaadin is a graphical user interface tool, not just for text. So maybe I can actually show quickly my screen for a moment. Let me share my entire screen. So Vaadin community has a place called directory. So this is a service that is commonly used by our community members. So whenever you create a custom component that might be helpful for some other community members, you typically share your components, the things that you have created here as an add-ons. And then this basically lists, you can publish them through the Maven repository that is here, but I prefer to just publish everything to Maven Central anyways, because then you don't need a custom Maven repository. And and for visualizations, of course, like my de facto way is, of course, to go to vaadin.com/docs, and there you will see that we also do have charge components. So this has this dollar thing, and because we want to keep everything open source in this project, we cannot use this kind of commercial extension to the open source Vaadin framework. So this is what pays really my salary. So please, if you have a chance, go and buy it. It's the best. Really, it is the best available charting library available for Vaadin. So take it. But if you can't, you are not screwed. There is a ton of like open source versions. So if you just, I think you can find other charting library with other keywords, but with charts alone, you will get like a screen full of different libraries. And because of examples are cool, I wanted to create another one. So I created this coach, and I created this morning just for this presentation. So this gives you a very clean API and still gives you rather visual presentation for both temperature and humidity. It is based on this React component, and LLM wrote most of my code for the integration, and you can configure it now with pretty much all these configurations. But it also has this ready-made compositions available. So let me go here and close the screen sharing and get to the code. So first, let's add a dependency, new add-on. And this was now go like this, and it was from the same namespace. And the version is this is now easy one because this was the first ever version.
One. So we have the premiere to include it in the projects.
Absolutely, and now we will hope that it will resolve. Yes, okay, now we have a new project. In the meantime, when I'm coding the actual example, you can probably restart the application because that's needed. And I will go to the where was it?
Temperature, humidity view.
Electronics and temp humidity here. Yeah, I remember this. So basically, here we are reading in the measurements, and with the measurements, we are now setting them into just some text boxes, which are implemented here in the top. We have two span elements essentially, and then we are putting them there. But because those are boring, let's get rid of those. Again, we are removing code. And now in the constructor, let's create a new, what was the class that I created in the morning? I have a cheat sheet, environment monitor. So this is the new class. So this is now a component that basically implements in monitor, and let's create a field and add it to the layout. So now instead of those two spans, we have this environment monitor there. Okay, that helps. And yeah, instead of modifying those, we will just go to the environment monitor and set values. So we are taking two doubles. So we go to the measurement. So this is the thing that we get from the service class and get the temperature, and the second was humidity. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna check your screen now.
Okay.
Oh, not everything is
valid.
Yeah. We only have we have the headers there. So let's stop the execution. And now go to the command line. Or then use the Maven there. Yeah, so basically go Maven Vaadin clean. I don't know. Actually, don't do that. Yeah, this is actually another issue. Let me open the IDE again. So actually, your project, because it was actually pretty old. Yeah, this bit me hard yesterday actually when. This contains a pre-major optimization that we had in the product earlier, but we actually did an actual optimization to our project. So you don't need this anymore. This is still available, but if you create a fresh project using Vaadin archetype or from start of Spring.io or anything, just get rid of it. This will break your add-on usage in many cases, and it doesn't slow down the build really that much. It's almost negligible. We did another kind of optimization instead of that, the right kind of optimizations, and now restart the application. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, now you can see that now the Vaadin's development mode detected that there is a new front end code that needs to be embedded to the bundle, and now it's building the development bundle. It takes a while because it loads some new React components and there should be stuff. Yeah. And now we have the visualizations and they look very
responsive.
Yeah, it changes a lot.
Okay.
Maybe you can try to deploy it to the Raspberry Pi because then it probably looks way better because I have this device, but I didn't manage to connect it to the Wi-Fi of my home office, so I couldn't test it here. So let's see how it looks in action.
So it's still building. This is always funny when you start packaging and you still have the application running, then it suddenly starts refreshing in the browser.
Yeah. Because it's now using the same place to
Yeah.
kind of replace the development time tooling with the optimized version. This is quite often I work in a way that I never do the production builds on my local machine. So because I like to use this kind of platform as a service for my demos, then I just push the code and then it's the continuous deployment system that is doing the production build always.
Okay, so now it's restarting.
I would be surprised if there is no demo effect.
No, it's not there yet. I don't know why. The application is running, so that's okay. Do we have some error here? No. That's something I know.
Does any of the views open?
No. Buzzer.
So we succeeded to break the whole project.
Yeah. Always fun to do that.
Oh, I cannot see what is. Now something is happening in the log.
Yeah, I don't know why it's sometimes says it cannot find it and then still it works. And this is something with the RGB LEDs. But those are only in the service, so actually it's to start, start the application.
It's, by the way, it's way faster to start apparently than on this on this device.
Yeah, there's a very big difference between Raspberry Pi 4 and the one you have, which are more or less the same processor, and the Raspberry Pi 5. It's so much faster. And I think I have the 16 gigabyte version, so it also has a lot of memory. Okay, but what did we do wrong? Because let me see if it runs normally on my PC still.
Yeah, you could actually check the production build locally. There is some error.
No, it starts.
Okay.
It starts and
we
runs.
have the chart as well.
Yeah, so this is not okay. We have the chart. So what did we do wrong? I don't know. Let's do it again. Did you try turning it on and off again?
That usually helps. Yeah, for this machine, I actually already did a setup where I actually use the system V service for the server process. So even if I reboot this Raspberry Pi server, then my Vaadin application actually starts up. So that's pretty handy system, and especially if I get to do some actual solutions, then I absolutely want it to be online all the time. And even if there is an electric brake, I want it to start up automatically. But Spring Boot has pretty nice instructions for that.
Something very strange. It doesn't want to start, but I'm not sure. I had some issues where I had to start in a private browser. There's some caching issue, but no, it's not that. No.
Yeah. Can you try with curl from your workstation?
I can.
What's the response there?
I can do localhost. No response. Do I have developer tools here? Yep.
Reading path. Grow by index.
This is a bit similar to the things I had with some upgrades to a newer version and not being able to push. I don't know if that's the same case.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen that.
That's the thing you don't want to hear from your doctor or your developer.
Yeah.
But no problem. We'll try later and see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's run. I really like the components you create. So you said you just created this morning?
Yeah.
This temperature thing. So that means that building components is not hard.
Yeah.
Of course, your
you
experience.
can dig it. Yeah, you can dig into the implementation if you want.
Yeah.
So I would go from IDE.
Because so these are actually using React components, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's using Canvas, HTML5 Canvas behind the scenes, but it's essentially a existing React component that was just wrapped as a Vaadin component. So this is now a composition of two of these coaches. So dive into, for example, the temperature coach there, and here you can see how this is now built over the very generic coach implementation, and in that there is the actual, if you kind of go still one level up. So here we are basically using these annotations. We are defining that, okay, we want to use this React component, and now the Vaadin tooling brings in the TypeScript source for this React component, and then there is this React coach TSX file that is actually doing the integration between the Vaadin Java class, so this class and the React code.
So is this something you wrote, or which is part of the React component?
Yeah. This is what I wrote in the morning, or what LLM mostly wrote for me. But I needed. I first made the initial setup where it rendered just the basic default, and then I used LLM to kind of implement the boring API part here. So now it supports value, min value, max value, and then some other more sophisticated APIs. Yeah, these arcs, for example, there.
But then you have this full Java-like Java code, which actually gives you access to all these values within that JavaScript component.
Typed Java API. I didn't tell my LLM to write any documentation, but just because of the typing and because of the well-defined method names here, this is all that an experienced Java developer needs. You can just treat the API with the IDE, and auto completion works like it works way better than LLM actually. so if you have a quality Java API, you don't really need that LLM magic at all. So standard IntelliJ or whatever Java IDE works way better.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. So this is an improvement. We can test it locally. I'll see later what the problem is with the Pi.
Yeah, let's check that later. We could actually take one additional enhancements for this application, because I would guess that if this would be some like actual like what would it be like a IoT solution, then most likely you will want to use it not from your computer but from your iPhone or Android phone, and for that you need mobile optimized view and possibly also like a mobile optimized application, and Vaadin has pretty nice tooling to implement that kind of solution. So let's try to create the application with that as well. So can you see now the application class?
Yeah.
So now if we add PWA annotation here, so this makes it progressive web application, but basically this makes it installable. So let's give it the required parameters. So here you will add, let's say, Pi4J demo. It also has short name that's pretty short already, but let's give Pi4J and then these symbols again. And yeah, that's like short enough. That's basically the short name is what is used then, for example, on ION's home screen. And we actually already, I noticed that you had here an icon. This happens to be now this icon. This is Vaadin icon that you're using here. But whatever you put here, and when you annotate this PWA annotation here to the actual configuration, now the Vaadin tooling actually creates all these icons, for example, so that when you install it on your home screen, then you have a better. So probably you want to customize this to something else than Vaadin icon, but we can use it as an example. Mm-hmm. I think this is pretty much all that is needed for basic mobile optimization. The main layout and the components, they are all designed so that you can at least use those with mobile device. For some cases, like for some use, you probably also want to configure the actual view as well. Maybe mm-hmm. serve instead of like a very wide grid with 10 different columns, maybe ship just like a grid with one column instead, and these kind of changes. But you should get pretty much like a usable mm-hmm. application. Can you make a production build and run it locally here? So go, yes, for example, yeah. Go. Yeah, so now on the logs, you will quickly see at some point that it's processing those icons now.
Oh. I think we messed it up completely now.
What's the error there? It's a bit too small for me. Unable to read.
The error is not, I don't know why. Execution repackage of goal, repackage failed. But I removed the target directory. Let's see what it says now. Still.
Did you make clean install?
Yeah, clean package.
Clean package production. Yeah.
Should do it, huh? Don't you love demos?
I have no idea what is happening now. This is probably the same thing that is.
Probably that's breaking it again on the.
But there is no other error.
I will remove these.
This is coming from Spring Boot plugin.
Yes.
Is the Spring Boot plugin the right one? Yes, it should be.
I don't know which version we should be on. There is no Spring Boot.
Yeah.
There is no version here.
Yeah. It should be coming from the super one.
Yeah.
Can you?
I removed those.
What is?
I removed those again. This again. Source main bundles. So I'm wondering if that could be the problem.
Yeah, I have no idea why you needed to do that, because I usually don't need to do that. Only when I'm like upgrading the major Vaadin version. No, but it's still the same.
Still the same.
What's there? The actual Vaadin package goes just fine. So it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should ask the maintainers of the google.com util concurrent abstract future.
Maybe it's the Java version. What's your Java version?
I'm indeed, and that's something I just changed before this demo. I changed to 25. I don't know. Maybe we are using something which is too new, because it was only available since 2 weeks. And
yeah, I remember that I tested this in the morning, and then I was using Java 25, and it was.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Let me test with. Let me test locally here. Maybe I can show it from this side if it works here. All right. Maven clean package production. It works on my Mac.
It works on my machine. Famous
Yeah.
last words. Well, we'll see what the problem is later.
Yeah. Let me make the production build on my machine. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I can probably demo how it works locally then as well.
I prefer that this problem happens now than when I'm doing a demo at a conference.
Yeah. So now let me add the PWA annotation here. So again, same thing, name. That doesn't exist, but yeah, this is fine. All right, and now clean package production. Yeah, the build passes. I have no idea what is problem there. And Java jar.
You can blame my computer.
Yeah, I can. I will. Oh. No, not that much. Target. Let's do it like this. So now we should be starting the actual production for the application. And now if we, for example, let's use it with Safari only. So if you navigate here, you can actually now see in the desktop Safari even that it shows that you can actually open it as a web application. And this is exactly the same thing that you can do on your mobile device. In mobile device, you will find also this symbol in iPhone, and on Android, it's a bit different. And on mobile device, you will see here that add to home screen. But here, you can just add it to the dock. And yeah, it was there, add to the dock. And now we can just add it there. And now we have basically installed this web application on our computer. And now if we open it from the dock, it will open without the browser Chrome. So there is no location bar or anything. It has icon here in the program switcher, and that was automatically generated on the version there. And if you have a small screen devices, like if you open it on an iPhone, it looks a bit different. It has a different kind of navigation system that collapses, and yeah, this is now a different version. This is using the old text
one.
there. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So this is basically what I usually do for all my hobby applications.
Yeah.
So I use my web mostly on my iPhone. If I'm not working, of course, when I'm coding, then I'm using my Mac.
Okay. I wanted to ask you one more thing, if you still have time to do this.
Yep.
Is because I found this post, and actually that was a bit of the idea why I invited you for the stream, is on July there was a blog post which says which notifications are best for Java apps, Web Vaadin or push.
Yeah, and the right answer is, of course, it depends.
It depends, of course. I was just wondering, do I use the correct version for what I need here? So what I'm using, so there are two things in application. It has this push attribute. And then from the Pi4J service, I have this broadcast method, which calls a list of listeners here. And the listeners are defined by the views themselves because they subscribe, like the 7-segment view. So if it attaches, it registers itself as a listener. And that means, so a listener, it's here also.
Yep.
And then it means it gets a message. And if it's not for the type segment, it ignores it.
Yeah.
This works perfectly, but I don't know if this is now the right approach. If you look into the blog post, there are different ones. So you have Vaadin notification, you have web notifications API, you have push notifications, you have service workers. So I don't know.
This is now about the notification components. So how the notifications that like some kind of events, how they are published in the UI. And in this your code. You don't actually use any notification. These are just events, but you are pushing them now to the logs. But if you would, for example, have some more important events coming that you would like to highlight to the user when they are doing something else in the application, then you would want to use notifications. And probably the easiest thing to do is to use the notification component that comes with Vaadin core. So we have a special component for that, but it has a bit of a downside that it only works inside the actual web container that the browser provides. So if you leave into your, let's say, if you use a native, let's say, Excel application on your machine, if you go to that application, then the notification is probably lost. It's shown in the background in the browser, and probably it's even hidden when you come back to the application next time. So it's not the best possible UX, but there is this nice thing in web APIs these days in the browser. Basically, they have this notification API that allows you to connect from web applications into the actual browsers or operating systems notification system. So browsers basically have the API that allows you to push something. If you are running on Mac, it's on Mac OS. If you're running on Android, it's using Android's own notification system. And you can use those from web application. In this post, I have pretty nice instructions how to do it. And the kind of the most advanced solution is the push notifications, which is then, it doesn't even require your web application to be open at all. You can close, even your browser can be closed, and you will still get these notifications to the operating system's notification center. So this works in a way that you then register a so-called service worker, and that happens when you, for example, in Vaadin applications, use this PWA annotation. So that is basically required when you use this web push notification system. Also, in an actual deployment, you will then need to have HTTPS connection to the server so that it actually works with these web push notifications. And then you can just register with the browser. It changes a bit based on what the browser uses, but for example, if you use Safari on iOS, it basically makes or utilizes an existing connection that your iPhone has to the Apple server, and then when your server has something to send to your users, it just sends it through this API that it provides actually a Java version for it. And then you can just push kind of to this queue a message, and it will go through Apple servers and find your iPhone, even if your web application is closed.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And it will be shown there. And then you will be able to open that web application again. So if it's very important, go to web push notifications. Take the bit of a hurdle. You need to register to the server and so on, and store kind of the registrations. So that's the most complicated one to use. These two first ones, they are pretty much equal, but they will lose their stuff if your application is completely closed.
So what we maybe could be using is, for instance, so I have this touch. So there is a touch button here on the CrowPi.
Yeah.
So if someone is touching it, so I could do here, if is pressed, then we could use this web notification API, for instance, to have a pop-up warning, show notification. Could use this one, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that you need to make sure here, if you go back to the actual application code, because this is coming from a different thread. So using this API also needs to happen within that access block. Yeah. I think you should actually use their access, not access synchronously. Yeah. Now it should work just fine there.
Yeah.
And now you already have the Vaadin add-on there, so you can use this like native browser notifications as well. But if you don't have that add-on, then you can go with the actual notification class in the.
I probably need to initialize it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's actually the broadcast system I'm using is correct. It's just this blog posts goes on top of it. So if you want another kind of notifications, yeah, I get it. Okay, good. You had some. Let me go through the list because you were really well prepared for this demo. Thanks a lot for that. You had one remark about the LCD display view. Let me see. I think it's a bit the same idea you had, that I'm repeating code and you don't like it, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So we could maybe like take a shortcut here, but basically I would create first. Can you open that class again?
Yeah.
So basically I would create here first one component that would take both the button and the text field and compose them in one, and then create yet another composition on top of those. And the habit that I have been using lately is that if these kind of components that you would, for example, create here, it will be never reused anywhere else. Unlike the previous version with the latency testing button, that could in theory be shared with another application if done correctly. But here this will probably never be used.
No.
So I want to show the hierarchy here. So I create inner classes inside inner classes, and this way I get very nice structure to the Java code, and it's very easy to come back to it later and make some possible notifications.
Yeah.
And also you get rid of this row to style of variable names and calling row to this, set that. So you group all these together, and and basically here you also have the row basically 2 times there, and also the button with pretty much same kind of configuration. So there is also some actual reuse here within the view.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's actually only the number which changes here. So I could just give this as a parameter and then, correct.
Yeah,
sometimes I should think more about my code.
Yeah, I think I had like one which is maybe a bit more relevant to notify. It was also in the about system view. Go there. I can maybe help you to create a potential fix there. This is related to the. Oh, I need to change my ultimate version here. Yeah, about system view. So here we are also using push here. So we have in the update details, we are calling get UI, and if that UI is present, then we do this access thing here. But the problem with this is that you shouldn't even call this get UI without being synchronized. So this UI reference, this needs to be taken way earlier, and the best place is usually either in the Apache UI or here in the constructor. So you could that's UI get current like that, and then just create a field here, final UI, and now you can use the UI here from here instance. So let's get rid of a lot of code again. What's the problem? There is one more.
I'm wondering why I was using this future here.
I have no idea. But this basically, we probably need to check it that why it was written that way. But this is the way how you should do the synchronizations. Yeah, in this place you were doing it exactly right already. So now here you have the UI reference fetched earlier. So the UI is basically the class that represents the browser window where the Vaadin is running. So all the modifications that we do there, if they are not coming through Vaadin APIs directly, in which case the calls are synchronized already, then you should do it manually like this. that's not very common in typical Vaadin business applications to have this code, but naturally here, because we are interacting with the hardware and the hardware is sending us data all the time, then it just happened more often.
I'm wondering what I actually was doing there, because about system view, do update details. Okay. So it's refreshing the memory usage here.
Okay, yeah.
So where did I do that? It's this one. This one gets updated every 5 seconds, I think. Yeah.
Oh. Did it still work?
Yeah, it still works.
Also, yeah.
On my machine, but not on the Raspberry Pi.
because we broke that.
Yeah, what the hell are we doing wrong? I don't know.
Yeah. Now that we are in the code still, I could maybe show. There was, where did I see it? There was some place where I wanted to share like some. It's more like a Java oriented thing. Yeah, it should be in the log grid actually. Yeah, here. Yeah, we could actually discuss a bit about the styling here. So here we are in styling the grid in line here, and I like this approach. It's very nice and quick way to do it. And if you want to do it in a way where you actually separate the theme from the Java code, then you should move this to the CSS. So you could then just in the constructor, for example, add a style class name, so which is CSS class name. Log grid is fine, or then you could use Java here and get class and get simple name, for example, or something similar, and then you would have a hook in the actual CSS and move this styling there. But I think this is just fine for most cases. But the thing that I don't like here is that you are not using the new additions that I have added. So in the latest Vaadin versions, you can actually have like a better typed API. So we have been improving the core APIs that we have on this lower level Vaadin API. So instead of calling just like string with strings, you can now at least give a width, and then you can get rid of this. So you can use auto-completion and make sure that you write less code in non-typed or non-type checked manner. And with some other properties, there is actually some enumerations. For example, if you set display or something, then you don't need to even use string as a value. But in this case, because we are using the calculation on the CSS, then that's needed.
So should this so text align, okay. So there are more places where I can do this. Set width, set. You don't see this in my screen sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, so all these are now available as setters. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
This makes it indeed
safer and and also it makes it faster to type it in the first place, because you don't need to remember that what was exactly the style property, because we are Java developers, so we mostly work on front ends. Maybe some front end engineers, maybe they remember all those by heart, but I don't anymore.
Okay, this is indeed a lot easier. Okay. That was indeed something you had. And then you also mentioned permanent deployment. I have a script for that on my blog. Let me think. Camera. So I have a few like what you see here on so this CrowPi being filmed is actually filmed by a Raspberry Pi, which acts as a camera, as an HDMI camera. And I have.
So it's a different Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, I have a few Raspberry Pis. you have, what does it look like? So this
Yeah,
is this is
can
the
see.
camera I'm using. So it's the
Okay.
same Raspberry Pi Zero you have, but the version 1, which is
Yeah.
with a much slower processor again, and with an autofocus camera module in there. So this is pretty amazing because if I put my hand here, it will focus on my hands, and if you see, the focus shifts immediately. And actually, I have a JavaScript running on there to control the zoom level. And
Aha. Yeah.
but that's not the final version. But here you see that if you create a script on a Raspberry Pi,
Yeah. This is like a
and
regular
it looks like this.
system
It
service
looks like
definition.
this. And instead of using here now starting the camera, if you put here Java minjar and your Java file, you can indeed start it. Just an idea, important thing. This is only because it needs to output to the HDMI, and the HDMI is not available on startup on this slower Raspberry Pi, so you need to wait a bit. Okay. But I have a script like that if people are looking for something like that.
Spring Boot documentation has very good detailed version that how you can use these same things to start Spring Boot applications like Vaadin applications, and this is what I already used on this mini Pi.
And then I have some questions here that we can maybe ask. How would you localize translate? So actually Vaadin has tools for that, correct?
Yeah, we do. And if do you have the development mode actually running in the browser?
I'm wondering, I have this melody matrix, I think. Something's definitely wrong on my side. I have an IDE error.
Okay. Yeah.
Where do I have? I think I have somewhere a project which has translations, but I cannot find it immediately.
Yeah, so that basically you can do it in any way you want in your Java code, but the de facto way with Vaadin applications is to use the standard property files that you would use, for example, with if you have a multilingual version of your Java Swing application. And you can find instructions in the docs, but these days I think the best way, if you have like an existing application, can you open the development mode of basically go to the localhost 8080 if you have the application running.
Yes, here. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not running anymore. One moment.
Yeah, and now, run it in the development mode. So.
Oh, I broke it.
Run it from the IDE.
Ah, okay. It's even. Okay, so the set styling is even more improved by the text align being an enum, so you can definitely not make an error there anymore.
Yeah. Then it's impossible to make mistakes. Yeah. So I think the question is now hiding the lower right part of the screen, but there is this small Vaadin icon there. So if you click that, it opens the development mode, or we call it Copilot at least at this point, but maybe we will actually change this in the future. Some of the features are commercial, some are open source, but I think in the right side, if you move the mouse to the right side of the screen, there is this small arrow in the middle of the right edge.
Here, yes, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow, yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's here somewhere. Internationalization.
Oh, yeah.
If you click that, then maybe something. Okay. So yeah, it probably needs this €8 per month subscription. Yeah. But then you can use this, and the LLM will basically find all the meaningful screens from your UI code, move, like externalize those into properties files, and then you will have the different language versions available automatically there. So in this kind of cases, the LLMs really they actually help a lot.
I think, but you probably do this from time to time, but I think this whole development mode and code with me, or how do you call it, this smart tool inside Copilot, I think for developers, it's amazing what it can do, but you need some kind of introduction probably to get started with it.
You need, yeah. and you should go to our YouTube channel. There's a go through of all these main features that are available there. But to tell you the truth, like, I'm a Java developer. I still mostly work with the IDE, and I don't use these features that much. Actually, probably the most used one that I actually do is maybe we could actually showcase it here. And there is this theme editor, but even that I like to do maybe more from the IDE. But go and right click on the view. Like you have now focused on there, and now right click there and go to the source. Click go to the source.
Yeah.
For example,
Hopla.
Did it open in your IDE?
Oh,
it's still showing the browser. It's still showing the browser, but basically it opened the right file from your IDE to this view. So in this example, we only have do we have 8 or 9 different views, and probably a couple of helper components. So it's not that much. But if you have like a huge business application, you could have hundreds of different views and even more kind of components within those. And it might be very hard to find the right place where you are defining this part of the UI. But with this feature, you can dig directly to the UI code. You need to disable it by clicking the arrow again if you want to disable it.
Oops.
Yeah. So now you can access the application again. This is something that I use more than the actual code generation features.
Yeah. Okay, good. At least that's something I learned today, but I learned a lot more. Okay. One last question. Could one mix in the reference to the global AI instance using an interface with the default? So I guess the question is about this UI that we are using here. I guess that's the question. Not sure.
Using an interface with the default method. Global. Yeah, I think the UI is basically something that you cannot override in Vaadin. So I have hard time figuring out a way how you could put a default methods to the UI level. It like in older Vaadin versions, it actually used to be kind of the de facto place where you put all the like global stuff within your application, but that's not just possible with the latest Vaadin versions anymore. The UI is kind of hidden behind, and it's mostly used for this kind of synchronization. I like actually one way is that if you have something that you want to something like interfaces, UI access. Yeah, I have tried that. Because I would like to get that UI instance with that kind of method, but it's just not possible, really.
Yeah.
It really. But I have a hack that I could maybe show in. Let me open the IDE. So I wonder if I'm now visible. But now I'm in the log grid.
I lost
view.
my.
Is the code with me session still on or?
Okay, my ID got lost from the stream. Here it's again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I follow you now.
Yeah. So instead of hooking like this kind of helpers to the UI, you can now hook it to the main layout instead. So you could create a method here, something like let's say void do magic, whatever. But now this is kind of accessible from all the views because this is the main layout. This is on top of all of these views. So now if we go to the log grid, we could here, for example, in the add line, we can find Manchester, and now this is the main layout class. So now it will get this instance that we are currently using, and then we can do magic. What was our method?
Yeah.
Except that I have a wrong import here. I guess.
You have probably your main layout. Yes.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
it's
it should be one.
Yeah.
What did we add here? Do magic. It's not
public. Yeah.
So now we can do magic here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
So
Indeed.
this might be helpful, but it
Yeah.
depends like what you are really doing. And
Mhm.
if you are using Spring, for example, then you can use dependency injection. You can create like for example like root scope or basically view scoped components and use those to kind of make the communication between your UI components work in a meaningful way.
Okay, good. We have over 1 hour and a half. That's already half an hour more than we scheduled. So I think we handled everything that you was expected. We handled everything that you had as an ID. So we have smaller.
I think so.
We have a smaller jar file. It starts faster. It doesn't build at the moment, but we'll fix that. And then we will.
It doesn't run in the Raspberry Pi anymore.
We will fix that. And we have these new gauges that you created for the temperature and the humidity, which looks much more nicer than just text field. So great work. And we are on all the latest versions. It was running on Java 25, by the way. That's also what I'm using on the, again, another keyboard layout. So it is what I'm using on the Raspberry Pi. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually Java 25 also running on the Raspberry Pi. We had a release last week, I think, and it was almost immediately available from Azul Zulu. So this is, by the way, also a version of Java with JavaFX. So for people who are like me, also loving desktop application development, which looks like Vaadin, should we call JavaFX and Vaadin sisters in a different environment? But
they are related, at least.
Maybe not implementation wise, but the how you use them feels very, very similar. So
and I can verify that this version of JDK runs on this 0 as well. Tested that yesterday.
With one side remark, you are probably on a Pi 02 second generation. If you are using I still needed to test that. So you did this.
Yeah.
So it works?
Works fine.
Okay, good. Because until June, you couldn't have a recent version of Java working on this 02. And it had to do with... So there is a different processor on there. And the runtimes were not compiled for that processor. By the way, another Vaadin application is here on api.pi4j.com. This lists all the boards. And so what you have, a Raspberry Pi 0, is a very close sister to the Raspberry Pi 4. They share much of the same architecture. Look at the SoC, so the system on chip. Here it's a 2711. And if you go to the 02, it's a 2710. It's the same ARM processor, but the SoC is different. So it's a Cortex A53, and here it's a Cortex A72. So because of these differences, recent versions of Java were not longer usable on a Raspberry Pi 02, and I had on my agenda to retest it with Java 25, but okay, you did this for me. It works. So you had this kind of strange errors about the compiler version and class def not found. So very strange errors, and they are not always the same depending on what code you're executing. So it's very confusing. And it was actually at the Swiss University that they informed me, Dieter Holz, who is also contributing to Pi4J, who said, I'm stuck here. I cannot use a recent version of Java, which is important because with Pi4J, we moved the minimum dependency. So version 2 was Java 11, but version 3 with the newest features is Java 21. And later this year, hopefully fast, we will release version 4, which is needs Java 25, actually 22 for the foreign function memory API, but we just bumped to 25. We follow the LTSs there. So people who want to use those recent versions. So please check pi4j.com, the website, if you are interested in all these experiments. So let me add the links here again. Okay, so this is pi4j.com if you want the links to the website with all the information. And again, the link to the repository with the Vaadin examples is here. Okay, good. Voila.
Yeah, I could actually maybe answer one comment in the comments.
Yeah.
There is this A.R is suggesting to use that kind of pattern for getting the UI, that you would have a default method that takes it from the UI.getCurrent. But this is exactly what doesn't work when you are synchronizing over the UI from another thread, because the UI get current, that's a nice helper that we have in the Vaadin code, but that only works if you are already in a synchronized block. So essentially, it only works if the framework itself has initiated that thread. So when we have another thread that is coming from the device integrator, it's not tied to any particular UI, and that's why this UI get current will return null, and that's the reason why you cannot use that approach. But I know that this is basically what almost every new Vaadin developer tries when they try to accomplish it in the first time when they are doing this kind of like multi-threading within the UI, but that's a dead end. So
okay. Yeah.
They take the reference. For example, in the U constructor, you can take the UI reference, save it somewhere in your class, and then use it from there. That's the way to go.
Yeah. Threads. Oh, I love it.
Concurrency, the only difficult thing in web development, in addition to CSS, DOM, JavaScript, and browser.
But I really love what you've done with Vaadin. And you mentioned before you have these components with a $sign, so you have to pay for them. I don't mind, because these components that you mark as paid are really the heavy ones. Complex charts, Excel-like tables. If you need those, then you're solving a company problem, and there should be budget to do that. And what you provide as free open source components allows you to build so much amazing things that,
I would like to claim though that the most complex component that we have, the basic grid, that's open source. That doesn't cost you anything. So it's not always the most complex ones that we have made commercial, but they are just like something that you usually only need in some corporate applications where you usually have the money as well. So the spreadsheet integration, for example, that's very typical good case for us, which is it's very natural place to have this kind of open core business model for us, because it's always balancing in our company on the freemium and the paid stuff.
I have a big respect for companies who share a lot of their work as open source, and they have to make a profit. It's the same thing. I work for Azul, so we build OpenJDK runtimes. Everyone can build an OpenJDK runtime. I've done the same. I've just pulled the OpenJDK repository on a Raspberry Pi and built a version of, at that time it was Java 17, which was not released yet. Everyone can do that, but it's the extra effort that these companies put in open source contributions. But yes, someone has to pay the bill at the end, and it's then the extra features or the support or legal stuff taken away, licensing problems. If a company can do that and earn money, and at the same time provide free amazing stuff, yeah, then big respect. And I find it amazing that you have built a company on top of this already for, what is it, 20 years with Vaadin?
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, because I started using Vaadin when I started at Tel Aviv in 2010, so 15 years ago, and it was then already version, I don't know which one. So yeah, I know you exist already a long time, and everything changed a lot within Vaadin. I didn't love it at that time. It was pretty complex, but so was Java, so was Eclipse, so was a lot of the tooling at that time. And yeah, the community has done a lot of effort in improving user friendliness and how you can use all these things. Okay, we went way over time. I think your dog probably wants to go outside. My dog
probably wants.
Yeah, mine already left. So thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for your work and improving this project. And yeah, let's see what you can bring to the drivers project of Pi4J with the tools that you have there for experiments.
Yeah, okay. If a pull request doesn't appear there, like during the next weekend, remind me.
Are you at Devox?
I'm gonna skip that.
Or maybe at JFL or whatever. We'll probably see each other, and then I definitely will remind you. Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.